Salut mes petites puces, c'est moi, c'est votre prof. Ça fait longtemps qu'on ne se voit pas, hein? Oui, c'est dommage, mais c'est comme ça ces jours-là. Bon, pour aujourd'hui, pour l'enrichment, je pensais faire une petite balade d'un sort, une petite balade dans Paris, une promenade, un petit tour. Bon, on va visiter virtuellement la ville de Paris. Ok, et c'est quelque chose d'un peu pas traditionnel quoi, mais ça va être très intéressant et nous apprendrons au fur et à mesure. Okay, if you're lost already, hopefully you picked up on a little bit of that. I said, hello, my little fleas, which, by the way, is not an insult in French. It's just a term of endearment. Um, I said it's been a long time since we've seen each other. Ça fait longtemps. It's been a long time. Qu'on ne se voit pas. That we have not seen each other. That's a tough one. And I said, c'est comme ça, ces jours-là. It's like that these days. C'est dommage. It's a shame. Dommage means shame, pity, too bad. Et quoi d'autre? And what else? I said, for today, for our enrichment activity, I thought we could do something kind of cool and untraditional, and that is a virtual tour of the city of Paris. We're going to use Google Earth to do that, and there will be an assignment at the end for extra credit. And this is definitely going to be an experiment. I've never used Google Earth to teach before that I recall, but it's so cool. It is one of my favorite things on the internet. I'm going to go ahead and make myself small. There you see it. I already have it open. The intro page, if you ever want to go to Google Earth yourself, which I highly recommend, it is, again, it's just my fave. You used to have to download an app to use it, if I recall, and it took up a lot of space on your computer. But now there's a web-based version, and it's just awesome. So once you click launch, it opens up this tab. You have a nice view of the Earth, unless you left off somewhere in the Earth from your last visit. And you have a lot of options here. We can kind of explore them. This is a search bar where you can just literally put in an address or a city or a country or whatever, and it'll take you there. This is the Explorer, the Voyager, excuse me. I'm not exactly sure what that does. I think it just kind of shows you, it talks about voyage, famous voyages throughout the world. You can take, there you go, take tour of the castles in the Loire Valley. That's in France, by the way. We could do that maybe another day, etc. It does cool, really in-depth tours like that. This is, I'm feeling lucky. Ooh, that probably takes you to a random spot. Let's see what happens. Oh, it's taking us to France. Oh, it's in Paris. Wow. Well, wait, we want to zoom out. We don't want to go there just yet. I do want to learn about it though. Okay, well, I opened up something on it, so we can come back to this hotel. That's very coincidental. Ah, non, 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 on ne veut pas aller à l'hôtel Matignon. Pas maintenant. Okay, I'm going to zoom all the way back out. There's probably a faster way to do this, but I'm just going to do it my way. Zoom all the way out to space view. Come in. I wonder what happens if I click on the globe. Yeah, it takes you out faster. Okay. There we go. Oh la la, la globe. The globe. All right, and I'm gonna go back to where we are. Okay, let's see, this guy, Projet, I'm not sure what that is, but it seems really cool. Something that I will probably click on after this video. Map style, you can just choose the style of the map you're viewing. And measure distance and area, that's a given. We don't need to use that feature right this second though. D'accord. I am going to, there's two ways that you can go to a place on Google Earth. I'm going to do it the old-fashioned way, which is to spin the globe as though it's a real globe. And I'm going to go right into Europe here. Hopefully you guys know how to locate Europe on the globe at the very least. Okay, so here's Europe. And if you weren't I know a lot of people are not exactly geography buffs. I happen to be a geography nerd. That is at the expense of math and science. I have no room in my brain for math and science, but I have, for some reason, all the room in the world for languages and geography. So here is Portugal. This is called the Iberian Peninsula, by the way. It has just Portugal and Spain, basically. And you might count Andorra, which is that tiny little country between Spain and France here. And then bordering Spain, of course, is La France, which, by the way, is affectionately known in France as l'Hexagone. L'Hexagone. Actually, I think it's pronounced l'Hexagone. I think it's feminine. The reason for that is it is a hexagon. It's not an exact hexagon, and I wish I could see the borders a little bit better right now, but oh well. But it is essentially a six-sided country. I'll kind of draw those out for you. So you've got, starting here, you've got one here that's bordering Germany, Belgium, and Luxembourg. Then you've got one here that is along the English Channel. You've got one here, one long one here along the west coast of France, bordering the Bay of Biscay and the Atlantic Ocean. You've got your border here with Spain, so that's 4 so far. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep. You've got your border here. This is the French Riviera along here. This is bordering the Mediterranean Sea. And then your border approximately from here to here along north of Italy, Switzerland, and I think that's it. I think those are all the countries it borders. Lots of different types of geography in here. I mean, you can see the mountains down here. These are les Alpes and the Préalpes also. And there's also a mountain range called the Jura, which I believe is around here somewhere. You've got some more slightly smaller mountains around here along the border of Germany and Alsace region. You've got mountains on the border of Spain. Gosh, I'm surprised you can barely tell that they're there because they are massive. I drove through them a couple years ago. So these are the Pyrenees mountains. You've probably heard of those. And then throughout France, you've got a series of, random smaller mountains and lots of hills. You've got rocky coast over here in Brittany, Bretagne. Okay. There's probably a way that I could show you the topography of the land a little bit better, but I don't know how to do that right now. Beaches for surfing here. The winds here are supposed to be some of the best in the world for surfing. Along the Côte d'Azur, it's just beautiful weather pretty much all year long. It's not quite tropical. It doesn't get that hot. It does get pretty hot, but not like tropical hot. So it's an ideal vacation spot. It's absolutely beautiful. And then you've got the mountains in the distance there. So down here in the Provence area of France, you have mountains and beach. It's just really kind of has it all. And then beautiful plains, valleys, rivers. France is really, truly, and I'm not just saying this because I'm a French teacher, it is one of the most beautiful places on earth. And in terms of its sort of geographic diversity, it really is wonderful. But we don't have time to cover all of France today. In fact, we are halfway through this video. If you've stuck with me, then you must be a nerd like me, and I love that. We're going to zoom in. We're going to zoom into Paris, and I may film an additional video, so we'll see. Going in and in, it's got that hotel highlighted still. How do I get rid of that? I don't want to learn about that right now. Okay, it went away. All right, so just really quick to find Paris. Paris is pretty much it's like if you think of France as being in kind of divided in thirds, like here and here. So the lines are drawn kind of here and here. It's in the top third. Okay, it's not quite in the center, but within that top third, it is fairly central. Okay, and right just above Paris, by the way, is the famous region of Normandy, and the Normandy beaches, the very famous historical beaches where a lot of World War II history took place. I mean, there's just so much. Okay, so we're zooming in. Zoom, 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 zoom. On zoom. Je zoom. There's Versailles, just outside of Paris, the Palace of Versailles. So much to see. All right, voila. This is still a pretty zoomed out view of Paris, but I like this because it shows you this perimeter. This is the main, basically this is Paris proper, everything within this circle. This is a highway, by the way. And then everything outside of it here are the suburbs. And some people consider the suburbs a part of Paris too. They're just a little bit more residential, not so much nightlife and restaurants and action there. And some of the suburbs are a little bit rough around the edges, but they're also very charming and cool. All right, so Paris. Before we get in depth, let's see if it has it laid out. It does not have the arrondissement laid out, so I'm going to pull up another map of Paris really quick. Paris, arrondissement. Oops, I don't think I typed it properly. Arrondissement. Allez, voilà. Image. D'accord, voilà. So any one of these would really do. But I want to show you this because I am also going to send you guys another video from YouTube of, oops, I want the whole thing, baby. Show me the whole thing. Voila. I'm going to show you guys another video about people living in Paris, talking about their reasons for living there, why they like it, why they don't, and a lot in a lot of that video they talk about the arrondissement. I've mentioned this to probably all of my classes at this point, but I know it's not something you're super familiar with. So here we go. So we have these are basically, think of them as just distinctive neighborhoods of Paris. They each have their own little jurisdiction. Paris itself is a jurisdiction, but then within there's little tiny small micro governments within each of these little babies. If you're wondering how big Paris is compared to other cities, it's actually fairly small. It's still a major city by any stretch of the imagination, but it is walkable. You could walk probably from this end, from this point here in the 12th arrondissement, all the way over here to the 16th or 17th. It might take you 2 hours, maybe 3. That's just an estimate. I haven't been in a long time. Let's Google that. How big is Paris compared to New York City? Oh, my husband's about to come in. He may interrupt this video. Hey guys, I had to stop the video because my husband came in, but that's a good thing because I was able to do a little more research. So if you are comparing Paris to New York City, for example, specifically Manhattan, remember, because New York is divided into the 5 boroughs, and Manhattan, which is the most well-known, is just one of the boroughs, but it's the main one for all intents and purposes. So it says here, Paris covers an area of around 36 square miles, and you can walk across the city in about 3 hours, so that's close to what I said. With the aid of the subway, you can see a great deal in one day if you're in a rush, blah, blah, blah. If you compare the city proper, within the Beltway, that's that loop I was talking about, to Manhattan, you'll find that Manhattan is substantially larger. Still, even Manhattan is within walking range if you have time. Paris is even more so. So I'm going to show you, I pulled this up on my phone. I don't know if you can see this. I can't really tell. It doesn't show me my video of me. So, but this is New York. Hopefully you can see it. This is Manhattan. And I did a fake distance calculation from the very bottom, the Battery, which is a park at the very bottom of New York near the financial district, all the way up to a famous restaurant called Sylvia's, which is in Harlem, which is one of the northernmost neighborhoods of Manhattan. And it says it would take 3 hours and 13 minutes to walk. Okay. And then I did the same thing with Paris. From that spot that I was telling you about, essentially. Marked location. I'm running out of time, shoot. Actually, I just got the upgrade to this screen share app, so maybe it won't run out of time. Fondation Louis Vuitton. Allez. À pied. Okay, so this is Paris, and this is essentially where we, oh, it's still going. Essentially the little place I was telling you about before, the one of the outer edges of Paris. It's not really a specific place. And if you were to walk all the way to the other side, like pretty much perfectly diagonally, you would get to the 16th arrondissement. I chose the Fondation Louis Vuitton, which is like a, I believe it's a museum. And that would take 2 hours and 54 minutes on foot, it says. So I was close, you know, two-ish, three-ish hours. You could probably get there in considerably less than 3 hours if you were walking fast. But yeah, so all that time just to explain how long it takes to walk through Paris. Going back, okay, since this video is not stopping, I'm not stopping. Although maybe I should so I can keep your attention. Why don't we stop there? Actually, I was going to go over the arrondissements. Guys, this is just like class in real life. Me constantly derailing myself and going off on tangents. Let's end this video on the arrondissement de Paris. And then I will record another one where we actually go through a virtual tour, and then I will explain the assignment. And again, if you watch all of these or even part of them, props to you. You must be very bored and or in need of extra credit. Either is acceptable. I find myself doing the weirdest things out of boredom nowadays. Lots of Wikipedia rabbit holes. Bon, voilà Paris. This is Paris. And these numbered areas are the arrondissements, which are, like I was saying earlier, small little neighborhoods that have their own micro-governments. They are overruled, of course, by the city of Paris, actual government, and then by the federal government as well. Paris is the capital of France, so the federal government is located within Paris. How do I explain this best? Think of the arrondissement in terms of how they're laid out as a snail. That's how it's kind of described to French Parisian citizens. Starting in the very center, this is what you would consider the dead center of Paris, kind of where it all started, way back thousands of years ago. This is one of the most posh areas of Paris. It's also one of the most touristed areas. You've got the Louvre over here, and very close by on Ile de Saint-Louis, you have the Notre Dame. So lots of major tourist spots here, plus amazing shopping that no real human being can actually afford. And then it kind of spirals out from there. So it doesn't go like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a spiral, so like a snail. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Okay, so it's kind of weird because you've got the 20th arrondissement bordering the 11th arrondissement, and you've got the 1st arrondissement bordering the 8th arrondissement, but that's just because of the spiral layout. Okay, so that is basically an overview of what arrondissements are and how they're laid out in Paris. If you ever talk to a Parisian and ask them where in Paris they live, chances are they're not going to tell you their street address or the name of a neighborhood. They're just going to give you the arrondissement. They'll say, j'habite dans l'11e, I live in the 11th, or j'habite dans le 16e, I live in the 16th. Each one has its own unique character, and then within certain ones there are, smaller micro neighborhoods. So we'll get into that a little bit in the next video. Again, if you've made it this far, then bravo, and voilà, on se voit bientôt. We'll see each other in just a minute.